at yourself. No, really look. Stand in front of the mirror. Adjust the collar of that shirt with the logo visible on the chest. Glance at the watch on your wrist. Heavy, metallic, shiny. Pull out that phone, the Pro Max Ultra Titanium version. 3 cameras staring back at you like the eyes of a spider. You look good. You look successful. You look like a man who has conquered his environment. Now let's peel back the skin. Let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the bank account linked to that watch. Let's look at the credit utilization rate used to buy that shirt. The image flickers. The successful hunter vanishes. And what remains is a frightened, shivering animal wrapping itself in golden foil to hide the fact that it is starving. You are a broke peacock. You are walking through the jungle of modern civilization, spreading a magnificent, iridescent tale of consumer goods, screaming to the world, "Look at me. I have resources. I am an apex predator." But it is a lie. That tale is not grown from your own genetic surplus. It is stapled on. It is leased. It is borrowed. And it is dragging you down into the mud. Why do you do this? Why does a rational human being, who knows he cannot make rent next week, walk into a store and drop half a paycheck on a pair of sneakers? You tell yourself it's about quality. You tell yourself you appreciate design. You tell yourself, "I work hard. I deserve a treat." Lies. These are rationalizations generated by your cortex to excuse the primal panic of your midbrain. You buy these things because you are terrified of invisibility. In the primal tribe, to be invisible was to be dead. The invisible male does not get the mate. The invisible male does not get the best cut of meat. The invisible male is the backup, the expendable, the background noise. Your ancient brain equates status with survival. It thinks that if you do not signal high status, you will be cast out. So you panic. You look at your actual achievements and you see average. You see mediocrity. You see a lack of real power. And that terror grips you. You cannot bear the thought of being seen as just another guy. So you try to hack the system. You try to buy the costume of power without doing the work to acquire the substance of power. You are engaging in biological fraud. You are signaling a resource surplus that does not exist. In nature, this is a dangerous game. If a small frog puffs itself up to look like a big frog, it might scare off a rival. But if a predator calls the bluff, the small frog gets eaten. You are puffing yourself up. You are driving a car that costs more than your annual net income. You are wearing clothes designed for people who earn in a month what you earn in a year. You think you are fooling the tribe. You think they look at you and see a king, but the tribe smells the fear on you. The scent of the broke peacock is distinct. It smells like desperation and cheap cologne. Real wealth has a specific frequency. It is quiet. It is heavy. It doesn't need to scream because its existence is undeniable. A lion doesn't need to wear a t-shirt that says King of the Jungle. The lion walks into the room and the room goes quiet. You are the hyena wearing a lion's mane, barking loudly, hoping no one notices the twitch in your eye. Let's dissect the luxury you crave. What is a brand logo? It is a tribal tattoo. When you wear Supreme or Gucci or Balenciaga, you are paying a premium to brand yourself like cattle. You are paying for the privilege of being a walking billboard for another man's empire. You think you are displaying your wealth. In reality, you are displaying their marketing genius. You are a serf wearing the crest of his lord, thinking it makes you a knight. It doesn't. It just marks you as property. The tragic irony is that the people who actually have the money, the people you are desperately trying to emulate, are laughing at you. They sell you the lifestyle because they know your insecurity is the most profitable resource on the planet. They know that if they price a bag at $50, you won't want it. But if they price it at $5,000, you will go into debt to have it. Why? Because the price tag is the product. You aren't buying leather. You are buying the ability to say, "I can afford this." Except you can't. You are buying the simulation of affordability. And the cost? The cost is your freedom. Every dollar you spend on a status symbol is a dollar you subtracted from your freedom fund. You are trading your autonomy for applause. You are building a prison out of gold bars. You look at your leased BMW and you feel a moment of pride. I made it, you think. Then the first of the month comes. The payment is due. The insurance is due. The gas is due. And suddenly, that car isn't a trophy. It's a shackle. It forces you to stay in the job you hate. It forces you to swallow your pride when your boss disrespects you because you need that paycheck to keep the peacock tail attached. You have become a slave to your own vanity. You are living in a hall of mirrors. You look at Instagram and you see everyone else living these curated, high-saturation lives. Private jets, rented for photo shoots. Champagne, poured out after the clip. Perfect bodies, filtered and angled. Your primate brain doesn't understand Photoshop or rental. It sees super stimulus. It thinks, everyone is doing better than me. This triggers the cortisol of inferiority. You feel small, you feel weak, and to medicate that pain, you open the shopping app, you click buy. For a brief second, maybe 10 minutes, maybe a day, the dopamine hits. You feel aligned with the alpha image. You feel worthy, but the item arrives. You put it on, and the feeling fades. The hole in your soul is still there. The emptiness of your bank account is still there. So you need the next hit, the next upgrade, the newer model. You are running on a hedonic treadmill, sprinting toward bankruptcy, sweating and panting, while the rich man stands on the balcony, sipping his drink, watching you run. You think you are playing the game of status. No, you are the game piece. You are the battery powering the economy of appearances. And until you understand the biological absurdity of what you are doing, you will remain a poor man in a rich man's costume. We are going to tear this costume apart. We are going to look at the ugly biology of why you need to show off. We are going to expose the peacock principle and show you why, in the human world, it is a suicide pact. You want to be looked at? Fine. Let's take a good hard look. Let's go back to the source code. Why does the peacock exist? From a survival standpoint, the male peacock is a disaster. That tail is heavy. It requires massive amounts of calories to grow. It makes him slow. It makes him unable to fly properly. And worst of all, it is a giant neon sign that screams to every tiger in the jungle, "Here I am, eat me." By all Darwinian logic, the peacock should have gone extinct millions of years ago, but he didn't. Why? Because of the handicap principle. This is a biological concept proposed by Ahmad Zahavi. It states that for a signal to be honest and reliable, it must be costly. The peacock is saying to the female, "Look at me. I'm carrying this massive, useless, dangerous weight, and I'm still alive. My genes are so superior. My survival skills are so elite that I can afford to handicap myself with this burden and still thrive." The tail is proof of surplus. You cannot fake a tail like that in the wild. If a weak bird tried to grow it, he would starve or be eaten. The cost ensures the honesty of the signal. Now look at your wrist. Look at your car. Look at your sneaker collection. You are trying to replicate the handicap principle. You are trying to say to the world, "Look at me. I have so many resources that I can afford to waste $1,000 on a piece of cotton with a logo. I can afford to burn gas in a V8 engine. I'm so rich. This waste doesn't hurt me." But here is where the tragedy begins. In nature, you cannot fake the signal. If you don't have the calories, the tail doesn't grow. The biology is the accountant, and the books must balance. In human civilization, we invented a mechanism to fake the signal: debt. Credit is the lie that breaks evolution. Credit allows the weak bird to glue a plastic tail to his ass and strut around like an alpha. You are signaling a surplus you do not possess. You are taking on the handicap, the monthly payments, the interest, the stress, without having the genetic quality, the actual wealth generation capacity to sustain it. In the wild, the weak bird who tries to fake the signal dies. The weight of the tail exhausts him. The predator catches him because he is too slow. You are that bird. The debt is your heavy tail. It drags you down. It prevents you from flying when the economy crashes. It makes you slow to adapt because you are anchored by your liabilities. You are signaling strength while engineering your own extinction. And who are you signaling to? This is the most pathetic part of the equation. You think you are signaling to the alphas. You think the rich look at your leased Mercedes and think, "Ah, one of us." No, they look at you and see a mark. They see a consumer. They see a victim. Real alphas practice counter-signaling. Have you ever noticed how the most powerful men in the room often dress the simplest? Zuckerberg in a grey t-shirt, Jobs in a turtleneck, the billionaire in worn-out jeans. Why? Because their power is absolute. They don't need the external prop. In fact, wearing a suit or a flashy watch would lower their status. It would imply they still need to try. When you are truly the king, you don't need to carry a sign that says "King" by engaging in desperate, loud signaling. Look at my Gucci belt. Look at my bottle service. You are broadcasting a very specific message. I'm insecure about my position in the hierarchy. I'm trying too hard. I'm lower middle class trying to pass for upper class. You are not signaling wealth. You are signaling social anxiety. And let's talk about the mates you attract with this strategy. You want the high-value female. You think the shiny car and the expensive dinner will catch her, and they will. But which type of female? Signals attract receivers tuned to that specific frequency. When you signal, "I have excess resources to waste," you attract organisms that specialize in consuming excess resources. You attract parasites. You attract the gold digger. You attract the narcissist who needs you as an accessory. You attract people who love the tail, not the bird. And what happens when the money runs out? What happens when the credit card is maxed out and the repo man takes the car? The parasite detaches. It moves on to the next host with a shiny tail. You are left alone, broke, and confused. "But I gave her everything," you cry. Yes, you gave her exactly what you advertised. Free stuff. You marketed yourself as a wallet, and you were used as a wallet. Do not blame the consumer for using the product as advertised. If you signaled competence, intelligence, humor, and stability, traits that cannot be bought, you would attract a partner interested in survival partnership. But those traits are hard to cultivate. Buying a watch is easy. You chose the shortcut. You chose the biological hack. And now you are paying the biological price. Think about the energy you waste on this maintenance. The maintenance of the mask is the most exhausting activity a human can perform. You have to constantly curate your Instagram. You have to make sure you're seen in the right places. You have to panic if someone sees you in your normal clothes. You are living a double life. The secret agent of poverty. Deep down, you know the truth. You know that if you lost your job tomorrow, the whole house of cards would collapse in 30 days. That low-level anxiety humming in the background of your brain, that is the sound of your fraud. Your amygdala knows you are unprotected. It knows you have no winter fat, only summer feathers. And winter is always coming. You are acting against the core directive of life. Efficiency. Evolution rewards efficiency. The organism that gets the most calories for the least effort wins. You are doing the opposite. You are expending maximum effort, working a job you hate, to buy things that provide zero survival utility, just to create a hallucination of status. You are burning your life force to entertain strangers. You are the clown in the circus. The audience claps at your shiny costume, but at the end of the night, they go home to their warm beds, and you go back to your cage, painted and poor. Stop trying to hack the handicap principle. You cannot cheat nature. If you carry the weight without the strength, you will break. And the sound of your breaking will be the only honest signal you ever send. Let's escalate the diagnosis. Some of you are sitting there thinking, this doesn't apply to me. I make good money. I earn 6 figures. I'm not broke. Let me introduce you to the most tragic creature in the modern zoo, the high-income peasant. You are the master of lifestyle inflation. In biology, there is a rule. An organism will expand its population until it exhausts the available resources. You are that organism. When you made $30,000, you spent $30,000. You survived. Now you make $150,000, and miraculously, you spend $150,000. Where did the surplus go? Did you eat 5 times more food? Did you become 5 times safer? No. You upgraded the cage. You moved to a neighborhood where the zip code costs a premium. You upgraded the Honda to a Range Rover. You swapped the $20 wine for the $100 wine. You convinced yourself that these were needs. You told yourself, I can't live like a college student anymore. So you calibrated your spending exactly to the limit of your income. You are running on a treadmill. You crank the speed up from 5 mm to 15 mm. You are sweating more. Your heart is pounding harder. You feel like a high-performance athlete, but look at your feet. You haven't moved an inch. You are exactly as close to bankruptcy today as you were when you were flipping burgers. One missed paycheck, one recession, one illness, and you fall off the back of the machine. The only difference is that at 15 mm, the fall will break your neck. The burger flipper just scrapes his knee. You have built yourself a golden prison. You cannot quit your job because the mortgage is a monster that must be fed. You cannot take a risk, start a business, or take a sabbatical because the lease payments on the luxury cars are relentless. You traded your autonomy for leather seats. Is that the trade of a free man? Or is that the trade of a well-fed slave? The slave on the plantation who lives in the master's house, wears the master's hand-me-downs, and eats the best scraps is still a slave. He is just a house slave. He is terrified of freedom because freedom means no guaranteed dinner. You are terrified of freedom because freedom might mean driving a Toyota. Let's define wealth biologically. Wealth is not the number of dollars flowing through your hands. That is just throughput. A pipe can carry 1,000,000 gallons of water, but if it is empty at the end of the day, it is just a dry pipe. Wealth is accumulated energy. Wealth is the gap between what you hunt and what you eat. If you hunt an elephant and eat the whole elephant in one night, you are not rich, you are a glutton, and tomorrow you are starving again. True wealth is the dried meat in the cave. True wealth is the fat on your ribs. True wealth is time. Assets are weapons. Liabilities are weights. When you buy a stock, a bond, a piece of real estate, or a business, you are buying a soldier. That soldier works for you while you sleep. That soldier hunts for you. When you buy a liability, a car, a boat, a designer wardrobe, you are buying a dependent. You are adopting a hungry mouth. That mouth demands maintenance, insurance, cleaning, repairs. It eats your time. It eats your energy. The high-income peasant collects dependents. He surrounds himself with beautiful, shiny parasites that suck his wallet dry every month. The alpha collects soldiers. He builds an army of assets that secure his perimeter. You look at the alpha's old truck and you sneer. He's cheap, you say. He's not cheap. He's strategic. He knows that the truck is a tool, not an identity. He allocates his resources to things that reproduce. You allocate your resources to things that decay. Every status symbol you own is a decaying asset. Entropy is eating it. Rust is eating it. The market is depreciating it. You are working 60 hours a week to pay for things that are actively becoming worthless. You are shoveling coal into a furnace that provides no heat, just pretty sparks. And what is the ultimate cost? Time. Time is the only non-renewable resource in the universe. You cannot print more time. You cannot borrow time. Once the second ticks, it is gone into the void forever. You are trading this precious, finite, dying resource for stuff. You are trading hours of your life, hours you could spend with your children, hours you could spend creating, hours you could spend sleeping, to pay for a badge on the hood of a car that sits in traffic. Is the badge worth 500 hours of your life? Is the bigger house worth 10 years of indentured servitude in a cubicle? Do the math. Not the dollar math, the life math. Calculate the price of that handbag in hours of stress. This bag cost me 40 hours of sitting in meetings I hate. Is it still beautiful? Or does it look like a shackle made of leather? You say, I have a high standard of living. No, you have a high standard of dying. You are consuming the planet and your own nervous system at an accelerated rate. A high standard of living is autonomy. It is waking up and doing what you want. It is having the silence of a mind free from financial terror. If you have a Maserati but you panic when your boss calls on Sunday, you have a low standard of living. You are a peasant with a shiny toy. Society loves you. The economy loves you. You are the ideal consumer. Banks love you because you pay interest on time. Car dealerships love you because you upgrade every 3 years. Corporations love you because you are desperate enough to work late to keep the lifestyle going. You are the fuel in the engine of capitalism. You are being burned to keep the lights on for the people who actually own the system. And they pat you on the head. They give you a platinum card. They give you VIP status. Good boy. Keep spending. Keep running. Don't look at the cage. Look at the pretty gold bars. You are proud of your credit score. What is a credit score? It is an obedience score. It is a metric that tells the masters how good you are at being a profitable sheep. A high score means this one shares easily. He doesn't bite. He pays his tribute on time. You frame your 800 score on the wall like a diploma. The wolf has no credit score. The wolf does not borrow. The desire to be a good borrower is the desire to be a good slave. You have fallen for the trap of relative deprivation. You don't compare yourself to your ancestors who lived in mud huts. You compare yourself to the guy in the office next door who just bought a boat. Your brain registers his boat as a threat to your status. So you buy a bigger boat. Now he feels threatened. So he buys a jet ski. It is an arms race to the bottom. Mutually assured destitution. You are both sinking, but you are smiling because your anchor is gold-plated. Wake up. The game is rigged. The only way to win is to stop playing. The only way to win is to step off the treadmill, to look at the shiny object and say, I don't need it. That sentence, I don't need it, is the most powerful spell in the modern world. It breaks the hypnosis. It shatters the chains. It transforms you from a consumer back into a human. But can you say it? Or is your identity so wrapped up in the cotton and the metal that if you strip it away, there is no one left? Block 4. The Invisible War. You believe you are a rational agent. You believe that when you walk into a store or scroll through Amazon, you are making choices. You are delusional. You are walking into a kill zone. You are bringing a stone axe to a nuclear war. On the other side of that screen, on the other side of that billboard, is not a friendly brand. It is a phalanx of PhD neuroscientists, behavioral psychologists, and data analysts who have spent billions of dollars mapping the topography of your reptilian brain. They know you better than you know yourself. They have put people like you in fMRI machines to watch exactly which neurons light up when they show you the color red, or the curve of a fender, or the sweat on a model's skin. They have weaponized your own biology against you. This is psychological warfare. The objective is simple: resource extraction. They want to transfer the wealth from your pocket to their shareholders, and the most efficient way to do that is to hack your primal code. They know that your brain is hardwired for scarcity, so they invent limited drops. They put a countdown timer on the checkout page. Only 3 left in stock. Your logic knows it's a digital database. There is no stock. They can print infinity. But your lizard brain sees the countdown and screams, "The fruit is running out. Grab it before the others do." You panic. You buy. You didn't want the item. You just didn't want to lose the race. They know your brain is hardwired for mating. Look at a perfume commercial. Do they tell you about the chemical composition of the liquid? Do they talk about the durability of the scent? No. They show you a half-naked alpha male on a boat, surrounded by beautiful females, looking at the horizon with intensity. They are not selling you smelly water. They are selling you a hallucination of sexual dominance. They are hot wiring your reproductive drive. They are saying, if you buy this $100 liquid, you will become the alpha on the boat. It is a lie. You buy the water. You spray it on. You are still you. You are still on the bus, not the boat. But the connection has been made. You associated the product with the biological goal. You paid the tax on your own libido. They know your brain is terrified of obsolescence. In the tribe, the old tool was the dangerous tool. The dull spear gets you killed. So they invented planned obsolescence. Every year they release a new phone. It is 99% identical to the old phone. Maybe the camera is 3% better, but they change the shape slightly. They change the color. Why? So that everyone can see that you have the old one. They weaponize your shame. When you pull out the iPhone 12 in a room full of iPhone 16s, you feel a micropang of social degradation. You feel like the Neanderthal with the chipped rock. Apple didn't just sell you a phone. They sold you a subscription to anxiety. If you stop paying, you stop being current. You become a relic. And the most insidious weapon of all, manufactured insecurity. A happy human is a terrible customer. If you are content with who you are, if you're satisfied with your life, you don't spend, you save, you invest, you sit still. So the entire engine of marketing is designed to destroy your self-esteem. They must create a wound before they can sell you the bandage. They bombard you with images of unattainable perfection. They show you skin without pores, lives without sorrow, vacations without rain. They hold up a mirror that distorts your reflection until you look at yourself and see a monster. You are too fat, you are too pale, your car is too quiet, your clothes are too boring, you are not enough. This message is pumped into your eyes and ears thousands of times a day. It is the background radiation of your life. And eventually you break. You accept the diagnosis. Yes, I am broken. And then, like a savior, the product appears. Buy this, and you will be whole. Drive this, and you will be respected. Wear this, and you will be loved. It is a cult. The god is consumption, and the sacrament is the credit card. You sacrifice your labor to the god, hoping for salvation. But the salvation never comes. The high wears off, the insecurity returns, and the cycle repeats. You are not a consumer. You are a resource node. You are cattle being milked for liquidity. The algorithm on your phone is the shepherd dog, nipping at your heels, steering you toward the slaughterhouse of the checkout page. It watches how long you hover over an image. It listens to your voice. It predicts your ovulation cycle, your depression cycle, your payday. It strikes exactly when you are weakest. It waits until 11 p.m. on a Friday, when you are lonely and tired, to show you the ad for the comfort food or the luxury watch. It is predatory. It is calculated. It is merciless. And you think you can fight this with willpower? Willpower is a finite resource. The algorithm is infinite. It never sleeps. It never gets tired. It runs millions of simulations to find the exact sequence of pixels that will unlock your wallet. You are fighting a supercomputer with a caveman brain. The only way to win this war is to unplug. You must recognize the enemy. When you see an ad, do not see information. See a spear thrown at your chest. When you feel the urge to buy, recognize it as a hack. Ask yourself, is this desire mine or was it implanted? Do I want this because it adds utility to my survival? Or do I want it because a team of psychologists in New York decided that this color blue triggers my insecurity? You must become anti-mimetic. Mimetic desire is the instinct to want what others want. Monkey see, monkey do. The Matrix relies on this. If everyone wants the Yeezys, you want the Yeezys. You must kill the monkey. You must develop the cold, detached stare of the predator who ignores the noise. Look at the product. Strip away the brand. Strip away the story. Strip away the model. What is it? It is a piece of cotton made in Bangladesh for $2. They are asking $200. Do you pay it? If you say yes, you are not a victim of capitalism. You are a volunteer. You are funding the very machine that enslaves you. You are handing your bullets to the firing squad. Every time you buy a status symbol, you are voting for a world where your worth is determined by your inventory. You are validating the system that makes you miserable. Stop being the perfect subject. Stop reacting to the bell like Pavlov's dog. The bell rings. New drop. You salivate. You pay. Have some dignity. Cut the wire. The marketing machine fears only one thing: indifference. They don't mind if you hate them. Hate is engagement. Hate sells. They are terrified that you will simply not care, that you will look at their shiny, expertly crafted, psychologically optimized lure and swim past it without blinking. That is the power of the alpha, the power to ignore, the power to define value on your own terms. Are you ready to reclaim your mind? Or will you continue to be a remote-controlled drone for the economy? We have stripped you down. We have removed the feathers, the gold foil, and the logos. What is left standing? Is there a man there? Or just a trembling consumer waiting for his next instruction? This is the moment of the biological reset. You have been playing a game you cannot win. You have been trying to fill a spiritual void with material density. It is time to stop feeding the black hole. It is time to return to substance. True power is not what you wear. It is what you are. If you were dropped naked into a forest, or into a boardroom, or into a crisis, without your watch, without your car, without your phone, would you still command respect? If the answer is no, then your possessions are not assets. They are crutches. You are a cripple leaning on a Ferrari. carry. The goal of the primal code is not to look like a king, it is to be the king, and the king is defined by one metric: autonomy. Autonomy is the ability to walk away. Autonomy is having enough resources stored in the cave, investments, cash, skills, that no boss can abuse you, no bank can own you, and no market crash can starve you. Every dollar you save is a brick in the wall of your fortress. Every dollar you spend on swag is a hole in that wall. You have to choose. Do you want a fortress or do you want a parade? Imagine a life where you drive a 10-year-old car, but you have zero debt. You sleep like a baby. Imagine wearing a plain t-shirt, but having a body forged of steel and a bank account that earns money while you breathe. That is the silent alpha. He moves through the world without friction. He doesn't need to honk his horn. He doesn't need to post his dinner. He knows what he has. His confidence comes from the marrow, not the skin. This transition requires a death. You must kill the peacock. You must be willing to endure the social winter. When you sell the lease, when you stop buying the rounds at the bar, when you downgrade your lifestyle, people will talk. Is he having money trouble? Did he fall off? Let them talk. Their chatter is the sound of sheep bleating at the wolf who left the herd. You are entering the cocoon. You are undergoing the painful process of shedding the exoskeleton of vanity to build the internal skeleton of power. Here is your mission. Audit your life. Look at every object you own. Ask the brutal question: did I buy this for me or did I buy this for them? If you bought it for them, sell it, burn it, get rid of it. It is an infection. Cut up the credit cards. They are not tools. They are leashes. Stop following the influencers. They are the sirens leading you onto the rocks. Go dark. Focus entirely on two things: accumulating assets and hardening your mind. Become obsessed with the boring. Compound interest is boring. Index funds are boring. Working out in a garage is boring, but boring builds empires. Excitement destroys them. You have had enough excitement. You have had enough dopamine highs and cortisol lows. Now you need stability. Now you need bedrock. The next time you feel the urge to signal, to show off, to flex, to prove you are somebody, stop. Take that energy and reinvest it into the machine. Buy a stock, read a book, do a push-up. Feed the root, not the flower. If the root is strong, the flower will come eventually, and it will be real. It won't be plastic pinned to your chest. You are not a billboard. You are not a wallet. You are a biological weapon of potential. Don't blunt your edge with soft comforts. Don't cover your armor with cheap stickers. Stand tall in your own skin. If that skin is not enough for the world, then the world is wrong, and you will force it to respect you, not by what you buy, but by what you build. The masquerade is over. Take off the costume. The hunt begins now.